Evening once again. Welcome back to Near Protocol Philippines, another episode here where we get to interview some very cool projects on top of Near Protocol. This time, we're going to be having somebody from Playible. If you don't know what Playible is yet, it's an NFT fantasy sports platform that is, of course, built on Near Protocol. And we have the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, with us tonight. That is Sir Seaver Choy. Once again, good evening, Sir Seaver. Welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the introduction, Andrew. I'm happy to be here. Super happy to be here. All right. So, hi. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Seaver. I'm 26 years old. 26-year-old. I graduated from De La Salle University. So, back in college, I guess I got lucky. I studied computer science, and then right out of college, I built this startup called Anterior Incorporated with my high school friends. And then all of us had different skill sets. I was the tech guy in the four of us. And ever since, it's always been, finding projects for Anterior, making sure that somehow I'm able to give the best projects for my developers. So we do have a good number of developers in Anterior. I've always been a guy who likes to build. I wasn't a guy who just believed in passively holding. Kumbaga, in investment, you always have the passive investor and you have the active investor, right? And I wanted to be an active investor by contributing to the ecosystem at all times. And last year, I remember this. It was May 2021. This was when Terra was also going through one of its DPEG events. But it was May 2021, and there was this hackathon. So, it was a pandemic. I was pretty bored. I was like, sige, sali ako sa hackathon. Let me just try joining. I was looking at all the projects, all the good ideas. Then I stumbled on this idea, which was written by Michael Vettig. And it wrote there, he wanted to create an NFT sports platform, fantasy sports, and then kind of like have NFT ownership for the athletes and then have fantasy game mechanics on top of it. So it was a pretty interesting idea. That's why I took it. But I've always been a tech guy. I've always been that type of guy who wants to build ideas, especially when I find cool ideas. I love building it. I've built a lot of startups, also a lot of startups have failed. I've done a startup called Bonga Kaday. I don't know if you'll be able to search it, but basically a lot of projects that I've been doing over the years. And that's when I stumbled upon Terra and I was like, you know what? Blockchain is a new thing. If no one has time to be able to learn it or be able to do it, why don't I do it, right? So I did what I can and I made sure that I was going to be able to learn as much as possible. So ever since I've been able to maximize my skills, I think the most valuable thing that I give to any company out there is having the ability to do business as well as code. That's a rare trait. Usually you would get coders who have a hard time with the business model, or you would get business guys who cannot code for their life. But I can do both, and I can actually translate for both of them. Currently, I also still work for Edamama as their de facto CTO. I'm the senior technical manager as well. So I've always been the hustler. I've always been hungry to make projects happen. Anything that gives value or gives back to society. Specifically, if I can contribute through tech, I try my best. So yeah, that's been my story. And so, fast forward to this year, May 2022, when Terra went down, it was a very sad day for me. I remember I was really down in the rut. I even posted it on TikTok.
I feel you.
But that's the thing. I've always told myself again, I've been a builder more than an investor. So I think the idea is still novel. It's a super good idea. It's something that you don't see in the market. It's something that you can't find easily, right? It's an idea that requires its own startup, and so I've never given up. And so we had to do a ton of interviews. How Terra Luna projects had to move out of Terra Luna or decided to stay. We decided to move out of Terra and not participate in Terra 2.0, but we found a new home in Near because with Near, the really good thing about Near is it has the human readable addresses. Onboarding was really easy. Email and password was pretty smooth creating a new wallet. I think in terms of what Near wanted to build, it really wanted to be the cloud computing of blockchains, and not simply just another L1 network, right? So cloud computing, there's a lot more humanness into it, and so I firmly believe that blockchain is still the future. I firmly believe that blockchain will change financial institutions, will change centralized finance. I still believe in DeFi because it's so easy to transact. It's available 24/7. It just makes sense. The only issue is right now, it requires smart people to use it. So people who aren't really incentivized or who don't fall into greed don't find the reason to learn about it, and the barrier to entry is way too high. And so I think Near solves that in a certain way now. So that's why we moved to Near. That has been the decision point. I remember before, and then this is something that I do with my high school friends, is we would play NBA fantasy sports. So in the Yahoo Fantasy Sports, what usually happens there is when you play a player, you can build a team, right? Become your own general manager, and then in drafting, you get to choose which players you want. So I was a Westbrook fan.
Okay.
I was a Westbrook fan. I was a Beastbrook fan. In fact, I really fell in love with, I think, 2017 Thunder, if I'm not mistaken. That was when Westbrook, Durant, Harden was there. It was such a strong team, but sayang, we didn't win anything or anything like that. But I really remember back then I was such a Westbrook fan, and so I chose him as one of my drafts. So I immediately chose them. The funny thing is, I wanted to pick him, but my friends picked him. So I really didn't get a chance to be able to really fully utilize him at that time. And so the biggest problem there is when you play the game, you're kind of restricted to just one tournament, one league, right? So, and after you finish that league, the next year, wala nang progression. Like you play it once, you're able to accomplish the 2017 season, let's say, but in the 2018 season, you don't really get to capitalize on, still believing in Westbrook ever since, right? What if I believed in who's a really strong rookie right now? Let's say yung sa Hawks.
I'm not as familiar with the NBA, but yeah.
Zion. He's like, people are saying he's the next LeBron James. But let's say I bought him when he was first a rookie, right, this year, or that was last year. Zion Williamson, I bought him, but 5 years later, I'm still holding him. I still believe in him. I don't really get any benefit if I play fantasy sports, and so we saw this gap. Right. I was if you're a heavy fan of a specific athlete, there was no way for you to actually love them and continue playing them and hopefully power up with them as long as you went along. And so that's what we envision in Playible. We saw how it's done in sports card. The sports card market naman in the entire world is that if you hold the rookie card of Kobe Bryant, you can actually get huge amounts of money for that. Huge amounts of money. But then you couldn't use that for fantasy sport. So you see there's this thing where ito yung ginagawa niya, and then yung ito yung ginagawa niya, but you can't combine both of them.
Yeah.
But with NFTs, you can. You can. NFTs are non-fungible tokens, and you can use them, have utility, play them in a game, play them in fantasy sports, and then progress with the player, holding that player. Once you hold that player, you can pretty sell it in the future. And so it makes the idea behind it is extremely special because you're now able to upgrade the sports fantasy ecosystem. And more than, most DeFi protocols out there, how you always have these tokenomics and things like that. I think what we've done in Playible is really turn something that is Web 2 and added the proper Web3 components. I don't see us as a purely Web3 company where we're going to be decentralized and things like that, solely because we need to have partnerships with sports. We have to secure these API endpoints, maybe in the future, maybe in the far future. But right now, we are really building a company in a Web2 with Web3 components space. And that's how we see it. So how it works is right now we are planning to launch on August 15 for NFL. I know there's not much Filipinos who are into NFL, but I've heard of you, but not everyone. NFL, and the way we do things is we sell our packs similar to how trading cards are sold. So we sell our packs. Once you buy a pack, you're able to exchange it for 5 random athletes. Exchanging it for 5 random athletes, you can then use those random athletes for fantasy games. Every week, we get the weekly fantasy score. The one who gets the highest gets the cash prize. Where do we get the cash prize? We get it from the pack sales that we're able to do. So then we create this circular ecosystem where people are then able to probably sell their NFTs in the future for profit if they're able to hold the NFT for a really long time, or they're able to join weekly games and earn from it in a weekly manner. So it's pretty cool. That's how we see things moving forward, and that's how we want to use Near for our blockchain.
All right. That was a pretty comprehensive explanation as well. Thank you, Sir Seaver, again. No, personally, I'm not very big on fantasy sports. Only esports maybe, but
Oh, we're planning to expand there.
oh,
Hopefully. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we do know, syempre, Mobile Legends, di ba? Mobile Legends,
Tama,
Dota
tama.
2. Meron pa rin naman players doon eh. And meron pa rin naman silang stats. In fact, in Dota 2, when you use the compendium, di ba may mga stats doon and you get
Tama.
to the... So, medyo same, ganun pa rin. But I guess, let's say we're starting off with traditional sports first. But eventually, we get big enough, syempre, we're gonna scale to esports, we're gonna scale to everything that needs an athlete and has a team, and you can manage. So definitely, that's also one of the things that we're looking at doing.
All right. Yeah, and I'm really excited to see where this goes, especially now that you're launching pretty soon, next month, basically, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm sure you have a lot of things in store regarding this project that you're building on. Maybe you can share some of these things, if you're allowed to share, of course, these things with us. What you plan on doing, maybe 6 months to a year from now, if that's a timeline that's already on your roadmap.
Yeah. So good question. One of it is expanding to esports eventually, but I think that's still probably 2 years down the line.
Mm-hmm.
What we really want to do this first year or this first quarter, especially with NFL, is to validate the idea, make sure that the entire product works, do a lot more marketing. One thing that we have to remember in Near, we have a lot of users for the Aurora blockchain, but for the mainnet, very, very few pa. So there's a lot of marketing push, and there's a lot of things that we need to be able to do to bring more users in. Once we've done that, then we scale up, right? We are also planning on launching on NBA this season, hopefully MLB next year. Next year, I think that was March, if I'm not mistaken, for MLB. So, American sports muna. This is not because, this is not because I guess I'm not a fan of the Philippines or something like that. But in terms of the fantasy sports market, it's much crazier in other
yes,
countries. And of
course.
course, my partners, Australian and American. So, selling marketing, I'm not the marketer. I try my best to help here as much as I can by doing these talks, doing these interviews. That's how I help. But we're not spending the marketing budget here, I guess. I think, in fact, we focus on bringing more adoption of Near in other markets. I think right now Near is pretty strong in Southeast Asia, if I'm not mistaken. And so we want to make it stronger in other countries. Hopefully, make Near really a strong L1 blockchain that everybody uses and everybody is a fan of. In a few words, if I was going to be saying things in a few words, it's really enabling sports cards to have utility. Kind of like if you were able to play your athletes, play it against other people, create a team, and you basically you get to choose your favorite players, you get to earn money from them, and then you get to play them forever. I think that's one of our taglines is actually collect once, play forever, and that's what we want to be able to achieve. You collect athlete cards once, you get to play them forever, you get to earn money from them forever. You get to basically you get to do that. You collect once to play forever. I think that's the biggest tagline
Yes.
that we have.
All right. I think I pretty much got the point. As a 15-year-old, build your dream team, play them, earn from them. All right.
Yeah,
So again,
exactly.
thank you very much, Sir Seaver, for having this short but meaningful interview with us and the community. To anybody watching this, this is Playible, an NFT fantasy sports platform again that is being built on Near and will be launching very soon. So if you're into that, the fantasy sports thing, why not try this out? And we will be attaching their links down below in the description so that you can explore what this is all about, and have a look and see for yourself if this is something that you might just try and continue to do in the future. And once again, thank you very much, Seaver. Happy to have you, and
Of course, happy to
we
share.
hope that we could have some updates with you again down the line. Some interesting things that you and your team are building in the near future.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So once again, this is Near Protocol Philippines. Thank you very much, and we hope that you have a great night. Again, Playible. Check it out.